Hello, and welcome to the Table. Today we're having a look at Forks, a vicious card game for 2 to 4 players about embezzling and white-collar crime. Forks is the brainchild of Mark Stockton Pitt, and the first title from his imprint Radical 8 Games, and the game will soon be live on Kickstarter. Mark was kind enough to pass on a review copy to me after he completely demolished me at it at AirCon back in 2019. In Forks, players will be taking the roles of white-collar embezzlers, trying to get as rich as possible by siphoning money out of large companies, while all the time trying to avoid detection and dangerous audits. So, how does it play? Let's take a closer look as we take it to the table. Forks is a very simple and clean-looking game. We have the cards representing our investments into the different companies, and we can always see the state of affairs. At the start of the game, the deck is shuffled and 3 cards are drawn, placed under the tiebreaker card here, showing the values of the different companies. There are 5 different companies, and the 2 with the least investment at the end of the round are going to be audited. At the start of the game, we'll have 3 cards out, and in this particular instance, the first 3 cards are all for different companies. We'll then bury 1 card, preventing perfect information from being in the game. We also have a merge card over here. This double-sided card has one of 2 special rules for each game you play: merge or swap. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So here we are. We're all set up for our first round. The first player gets chosen at random and the game begins. They'll draw 3 cards from the deck, pick 1 to embezzle, placing it in their hand, and then pass the other 2 to the player on their left. That player chooses one of those to keep and 1 to invest, placing it down on the table with the company's prior investments. That player then draws 3 new cards and the process repeats until the deck is out. As cards are placed on the table, the company's values will change, moving them up and down relative to each other, showing which 2 companies are going to be audited at the end of the round. At the end of the round, players reveal their hands. Every card they have belonging to a company in the top 3 is a positive value, while every card from the bottom 2 is a negative. You count up your score, total it, and move to the next round of 3. Now that the base mechanics have been shown, I can better explain the merge or swap card. Whichever way up this card is showing, it will give players a better way to manipulate their shady dealings. With merge selected, when past 2 cards, you can invest any 1 card from your entire hand, allowing you to offload terrible choices or trying to shore up other positions. With swap, when a player draws cards from the deck, they can immediately swap one of them with a card already invested on the table, making the company's values wildly fluctuate. So that's Forks. It's a very simple game and very much by design. It's a very pure set collection game. But that makes the decisions all the more weighty and crushing for players. I've never felt so smart in a game, quickly followed by feeling extremely stupid, as when I've been playing Forks. You have so much information on offer to you. The cards in your hand, the cards on the table, and the cards you know you've passed to the player on your left. So why is it so hard for me to pick one of 3 cards to keep? It's because that the core of this game is that every card you take makes your chances of scoring that card worse. So what may look like a big pile of points very quickly becomes a terrible trap stuck in your hand. The game's so simple and quick to play that it very quickly establishes a metagame, and I'm a huge fan of that in games. What in the first round was what card should I take, very quickly for me became what card should I be willing to pass on. And I really enjoy that in any kind of game. Forks provided me with an environment with simple rules that I could navigate, but I was having to navigate them around my opponents. Playing Forks made me feel like those stories you hear about white-collar criminals who just keep taking and taking beyond any kind of limit of sanity. This would be so much safer in this game if you just didn't embezzle a card 1 time, but that's impossible in Forks. For me, I got this huge narrative flavour from it, from being an embezzler who couldn't even conceive of not stealing, panicking about being caught for my crimes and trying to balance it through different thefts. Now, the mental maths in Forks can be quite trying. I found myself making stupid and simple mistakes while trying to add up the values in my hand versus the values on the table. So keeping the cards on the table organised is an absolute must. That also means that it's very easy to take a very long time on your turn, so I highly recommend a soft time limit to keep things moving. This game can be very mean, or at least feel that way. There's no actual sort of mean spirit in this game, but everything that you do to advantage yourself is really going to hamper everyone else at the table. But it's never cruel for cruelty's sake. There's just no time in the game for that. So that's not going to be to every group's tastes, but you've got to know that going in. Overall, I've really enjoyed my time with Forks. It's easy to teach, fast, hilarious, and shockingly tense. If that sounds like something you're interested in, really recommend giving Forks a look. Thanks for watching. This was a review of Forks by Radical 8 Games for To The Table. Subscribe for more board game content.